Welcome to Mic'd Up for Leadership, the podcast that gives you the tools to lead with confidence. I'm one of your hosts, the ever sick and hopefully recovering by now, Alex Dresen, and I'm joined by my longtime friend and colleague, Jourdan Hilaire. Jourdan, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm doing well, man. It's definitely been, I'll say, a long few weeks for sure, but I'm doing really well right now. So definitely have a lot of things, a lot of weight off the shoulders now. I know we'll definitely get to very soon, but I think most importantly right now is make sure that you're okay. I know you've been kind of out for the count these last few days, right?
Yeah, last few days, last few weeks, honestly. For our ever loving podcast listeners, we apologize that we haven't gotten a new episode out there in a while. We've had some things going on, some exciting things going on in our personal lives, combined with, I got sick. Just, it was a viral thing that's been going around Milwaukee, but did have to go to urgent care. They gave me some good cough medicine that has helped a lot. So hopefully on the mend. But if you hear a couple sniffles or coughs during the podcast that I don't edit out, I apologize for that. But yeah, no, we've been really busy these past couple weeks, and instead of waiting even more weeks to bring you a new episode, Jourdan and I decided to give you a look behind the scenes as to some of the things that we've been doing as leaders in our personal lives. So different initiatives we've had going on. For me, I've been planning I planned and executed our annual guys trip, and there's a lot of interesting leadership takeaways that I've had from that. But then Jourdan, you had an incredibly huge event, successful event this past weekend, and I want to throw it to you to share just a ton about that experience and let the listeners know what you've been working on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for that. So I know a lot of people, a lot of our, I'm sure, viewers, listeners, even maybe some friends and family members probably don't know too much about, the business, the event planning business I have. It's called the MADE brand. And MADE is an acronym, stands for Motivate, Aspire, Develop, and Entertain. So everything that we do when it comes to our different events, how we plan events, how we support the community, develop the community, individuals within our event productions, it kind of all falls within those particular pillars, right? Always make sure we have those particular goals in mind. And one of our signature events is our I guess you could say biannual or annual fashion shows. I've been putting on these fashion shows since 2018. And the first one was 2018 in the September 2018. The following one was September 2019, and we took a little break, and then we brought it back in 2023. And the last one was it was March 2025, October of 2025, and now May of 2026. So we've definitely been busy, but I'm very appreciative of the opportunity and the team that we have. Like I said, we've been consistently doing this for a while now, and I have a strong team, right? Of a group of individuals, including my wife as well, that pretty much honestly helps create a shared vision, right? We talked about that in the past of, the type of production that we want to have, right? And all the moving parts that go into play to ensure that we do execute it at the highest level as possible for the community, right? So for this past fashion show, and I know that when we actually launch this episode, we're going to be sharing some pictures as well, maybe some video clips as well from the show. But which I really, I think I appreciate the most about these experiences are the opportunity to really work with a strong team, right? Because this would not be possible at all without the collaborative efforts of our team members, right? We've been planning these shows, this particular show, this our fifth show since November, December, right? We had our casting call. We launched the casting call information in January. We hosted our casting call on February 1st. We hosted multiple practices. We kind of say they're required, but we also understand that a lot of some of our models are coming from out of state. We had a model come from Philadelphia, and her family came out here for this one. We had two youth models come from Houston, Texas, and we also had a designer as well come from Houston, Texas. So And I think about, I'll say about 75% of our models are coming from Louisiana, right? Baton Rouge, Lafayette, etc. However, we understand that it is unrealistic to require them to come attend practices. However, we do kind of encourage that, right? To really help them with their own professional development, right? And to help them develop their own skills and portfolio as well, so they can be ready to go when it's time to walk that runway. So we help host multiple practices in March, April, and also early May. And it's a lot of meetings, right? A lot of meetings behind the scenes. A lot of people don't see meetings. I say that our team probably talks throughout a week, maybe about 4 times a week, 5 times a week, whether it's via text message, phone calls, Zoom calls, and as the founder and the director of the May brand, I think it is my responsibility and duty to ensure that those conversations are happening, right? Consistently, because we want to make sure that no one on our team is unaware of next steps, right? And I think that when I realized, not when I realized, but when our team is able to be very aware of what happened from start to finish, not just a fashion show, but what the goal is in mind from when we first launched the casting call dates, right, to the end of the actual fashion show 6 months later. It makes us look stronger in front of our audience too, right? Or our models, our designers, our vendors, our sponsors, etc., right? Because people definitely know that we do our best to execute some of the most organized events in Louisiana, right? And that's also, and I say that honestly based off of fact from the survey responses that we actually get. We talk about, I believe, a little bit as well in past episodes about the importance of data, right, and assessment, identifying feedback, right. We talk about the importance of how student organizations, right, should be mindful of that, and think about doing things like that when it comes to ensuring that they're able to gather, right, as much information pre and also post event too, so we can review that data, whether that's word of mouth or in a documented version, so we can see how we can improve in the future. So after reviewing that information recently with our team a couple of days ago, it was a lot of positive feedback. Of course, it was a couple things that we definitely know we can improve on for the next one, just like every year, right? Just like most things. However, we were very pleased that our guests felt very comfortable. Our guests felt very welcomed. And we really practice, I call it customer care, right? Not customer service, but we practice customer care, really ensuring that we're doing our best to make sure that each individual guest that attends our events feels, just a part of the experience, right? Just as much as the individuals that are putting it on, right? So again, I have a strong team, a model coach. She's a director of production slash model coach. We have a creative director slash production coordinator. We have a marketing coordinator, and we have external relations as well specialist that helps identify vendors and sponsors, etc. So again, I'm very appreciative of them, and we put on a really great event, and we're definitely happy to say that we were sold out a month before the event. So we knew the level of expectation that we had on ourselves, but also from our guests as well. Especially we announced that really early, and then we were able to we officially counted 205 people in attendance. That's not accounting our our actual leadership team. That wasn't counting our vendors. That's not counting our glam team. The ones that do our models hair and makeup as well, etc., and our media team as well. So that's just counting literally the guests that actually attended that event that day was 205 people. So we're very excited again for this past one, and we've already hit the ground running and talking about our next one. But the last thing I would definitely share about this particular experience is, we talked about this around transitional documents, right? I know it's a little bit different when it comes to transitional document because I am, right, the founder and the director, and May Brand's going to be with me, right, until it's over, right, whatever that looks like. However, it's also important to still document, right, these processes, these steps. So because there might be times where I might get a new leadership team member, right, for whatever reason, or there might be something that I did 3 or 4 years ago that I may not remember, right? So it's important to make sure that we are documenting our team meetings, creating agendas, being very mindful of writing updates and reminders in our notes so we can go back to it, uploading and saving our flyers, our brochures, etc. Because it's very important to make sure that we have that digital library, accessible for us at all times, especially as we prepare for the sixth one. So again, it was very exciting. It was a great event, and I look forward to the future.
Oh my gosh. There's so much that goes into that. It's becoming international.
Yes,
It's nationwide, right? Like so many
yes,
models coming from all over the place, tons of
yes.
guests, and you're saying you're already planning for the next one. Are you going to do an annual show now, semi-annual? What's your plan for the next one?
Yeah. So
Too early to
I'll
talk.
respond. I'll respond two ways with this because I don't want to. I can't share too much right now because honestly, I don't know fully right now. It's just more just conversations right now. Kind of spitballing, like brainstorming. Ideas. Um, but I would definitely say that um, we put on three in the last 16, 17 months, right? Which shows a lot of people our consistency. And each of those last ones in March of 2025, October of 2025, and May of 2026, that they've literally have developed and enhanced the experience each one. Because the March 2025 one, we had maybe about 65, 70 people that attended. The October of 2025 one, we had about say 75, 85 in attendance. And then, like I said, this one was 205. So individuals that did and have attended or seen the last few, they definitely have seen the growth in what we've been doing, right? But I think now it's time to take a step back a little bit more and kind of like start to really think about, be very intentional about what we want this next experience to look like. And I think that with that being said, and with the ideas that we have, I say that I know this, we're definitely not going to host one in the fall,
Sure.
right? Because we want to take some time to really be intentional about this sixth one. And honestly, I want to focus on school and complete comps too.
Right. Yeah. A couple big things going on in your life there.
Yes.
Yeah. And from what I understand, you had an event before the fashion show that weekend, right? Was there's something that Friday?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So it's technically a 2 day experience, right? And this is the second time we've done this. The first one was this past October 2025. So on Friday, the day before the fashion show, we host our entrepreneurial and business panel, right? Mixer. So essentially, we identify multiple business owners, executives, just business owners in the community, right? Where they can share, tips and strategies for success when it comes to managing a business, working with people, etc. We had the vice president of Fidelity Bank as one of our panelists. We had a real estate agent as well, an established real estate agent as one of our panelists. We had a barbershop and restaurant owner. They were actually a married couple. They were two of our panelists as well. So, it was in another person. They own their own medical spa as well in Baton Rouge. So, and then our last one was they own their own nonprofit organization. So, we really appreciated that experience. It was a lot. It was great to really hear from people that's like literally in those industries, kind of share the do's and don'ts and strategies for success. And we definitely will be continuing to, support and I say create and develop that event for years to come because, and it's also a free event, by the way. We have literally made it a free event this last two. So it's for anybody to come and really just learn and explore and connect with some like-minded individuals, to really maybe help them grasp some understanding of their leadership capabilities. So it was a great event.
That's incredible that you're doing that for the community, making it free so there's access to engage your community and
Yes.
learn what that means to have that entrepreneurial spirit or just in general develop professionally in all those ways. So I'm going to ask a big question here, and I hope take it whatever way you want. But what's the biggest lesson in leadership that you learned from this weekend, or really the entire planning of this event this time?
Um, trust, trusting your team. I think I wrote something in someone's, I forgot, it's not a flex, by the way. I wrote something in someone else's leadership book actually a while ago, 2015, 2016, and I focused on, I talked about my experience as a student leader, right, in undergrad at Cal State Fullerton, and I talked about how my first year I struggled a little bit, right, uh, working with a group of my peers and being able to delegate tasks, right, and I wasn't delegating tasks at that time, right, and I talked about use your team before you lose your team, right? So I think about, of course, now years later, now, right, as I'm more, of course, experienced and more mature and have a greater understanding of the importance of having a great team, but how to actually build that team. And I think that being able to actually trust my team from start to finish, I think is very important for leaders to understand, right? But it's also important to understand that sometimes your team members may be coming in with different developmental levels as well, right? Because so some people may not be able to or may not know how to kind of flex some of those leadership muscles or execution kind of processes, et cetera. So you have to walk with help them kind of through those particular types of processes. But I think I have a solid team and be able to actually trust them from start to finish and allowing them to literally complete their role, right? Complete their responsibilities, stuff like that. So allowing my supporting and helping my model coach or production director lead the models, right? Build connections with them, right? Come up with grandiose ideas, right, of what the production may look like for those particular models and the designers, etc. Creative director, right? Allowing them to come up with, some of the most creative out of the box experiences as possible, right? But also having a conversation throughout that process too to see what can be done, what can be done based off of the venue, based off of some policies, based off of our resource or lack thereof, etc. Right? Marketing, right? Allowing them to find a way to, bring light to our organization, our business, to the community, right? Trusting in them that they're going to create those social media engagement calendars, right? And honestly, what I would say, the last thing I'm gonna say is that's why I say it's really important to trust your team because, all honestly, the day of the show, I was literally it was two stories, right? Well, we're on the show was on the fourth floor. I was actually down. It was because the show was on the fourth floor on the rooftop. I was downstairs, literally managing check-in the whole time, Alex. The whole time. I was literally I'm glad I made that decision too though, but I was literally downstairs, right? Checking in folks, making sure everything was moving smoothly on that end. But I literally had 4 or 5 leadership team members and of course some interns as well and volunteers upstairs with the walkie-talkies. I had one as well, so I knew what was going on the whole time. They were literally leading the show. I missed the whole show up until maybe we had 7 designers. I saw the last designer, right? So I walk. The show started. The pre-show experience started at 5 o'clock, um, and the official show started at 6:30, and it was supposed to be over around like 8 o'clock, 8:30. I probably got up there around 7:45, 7:50.
Oh my gosh.
Um, but honestly, everything was great. Everything worked out. Of course, I saw the show with videos from other, for other people. But that tells the strength, right, and the importance of one having a team, but specifically making sure that those team members are prepared the day of prior to the day of, right? I don't think that I it wouldn't be as successful if we didn't have any meetings prior to that day, right? We literally were meeting since November, December, January, February, March. talking on a daily basis, having Zoom meetings at least twice a month on an actual Zoom call, talking about the details, who's going to do what, who's going to be overseeing what, etc., who goes where when these situations happen, right? Um, and because of we were able to do that and keep that communication line open throughout those last 6 months, they rocked it. They rocked it, right? They knew exactly what to do, who's going where. They had the run of show for the agenda, etc. So again, like I said, I was literally downstairs. I could hear a little bit, but like I said, it was on the fourth floor, so I heard a little bit, but I was very appreciative, and I had to thank them. I thank them all the time, actually, through like probably about once a week. I thank them, whether it's individually through a text or on a Zoom call. I thank them and let them know I appreciate them, because it definitely wouldn't have happened without them. So I would definitely say trust is a big one, and definitely goes back to what I said 10, 12 years ago. Use your team before you lose your team.
Oh my gosh, Jourdan. I mean, the showing recognition, trust, um, the number of meetings you had in between. It honestly sounds right from the playbook of what we did in higher education, right? Planning all these events, these conferences, right, where you are preparing your team for everything that's going on because you won't be there the day of to handhold. Like, they need to independently be able to take care of their item or their area of practice so that the entirety of the thing happens. And in those meetings, while it can be frustrating to have to go to all those meetings and whatnot, by you
Yeah.
keeping it light and fun and recognizing them along the way and thanking them, it shows that you can then trust them and everyone can play their part to make something magical happen. And I can't wait for our listeners and our viewers to see some of that footage if they haven't already from some of the clips that we're going to share on social media from that event. So kudos to you, and I'm really appreciative to hear that you had such a great time at that event.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you, Alice. It was definitely great. But
Yeah.
so Alice, talk to me more about your experience though, because I know also you weren't feeling the best as well. So
Yeah.
tell
Okay.
me more
So
about that.
yeah, it's twofold, right? So my I had to serve as the leader for a guys trip. We have our annual guys trip of 7 or 8 college friends, that we make sure to plan out that every year we will at least have this one weekend where everyone gets together and sees each other and gets together, does something outdoorsy for most of the weekend, just gets to hang out. And, honestly, if some of my friends are listening to this, repeat the same exact jokes over and over, the inside jokes that we've had for 10, 15, 20 years or whatever. But no, it was really a lot of fun. When you say trust, it's so interesting, and like utilizing your team, because within this system, this is the fifth time we've done this guys trip. We've had other trips before, but like in this format, um, I've had to flex an authoritative leadership style because one guy is in charge of the trip and whatever they say goes, right? Like there's the background of, okay, help us figure out a date that everyone's free, and you can delegate certain tasks if you want to, but otherwise I make the plan, I book the reservations for the campsite or the Airbnb, I do the outdoors activities. I craft and create, or whoever is in charge, in an authoritative manner, what this weekend will be for everyone to enjoy. So there's a lot of pressure on that, but it's done so intentionally within our bylaws, which I'll get to. We literally have some bylaws, and no, I was not the one that created these. So as much as I've been involved with RHA and student government, student activities, constitutions and bylaws and whatnot, fraternity life. This is the first time that like something was handed to me by someone else, that wasn't involved in student leadership in the undergrad years that they're a part of. But yeah, we have bylaws for this guys weekend, and it's on this person to craft the experience. So during that time, it was actually tough leading up to it because I was making it fun and I wanted to infuse parts of who I am, my interest in Survivor and some of the fun little things that I do, Run Club, you name it. But I actually had to make a tough decision because I gave 20 different options for weekends for guys to get together. Um, and not everyone could get together. So someone was going to be squeezed out. And I did everything to try to get things moved around, open up other weekends, and it didn't work out. So one person actually was unfortunately unable to go. They had a vacation booked. So that's where I requested that we in the future, and this was the bylaws suggestion that I put forward. that we start planning this and reserving weekends 30 days after the next guys weekend occurs. And that's something that we're going to hopefully be able to now do, so that we can clear our calendars, so that January 1st, instead of planning January 1st, by mid-January locking something in, we can lock something in a year in advance, and then at least have a couple holds on weekends, and then by January actually solidify what that weekend is. Because a lot of these guys have multiple children in their family, and their birthdays and anniversaries. Between all that, a lot of weekends get thrown out the window. So um, a couple of guys joked that they made their anniversaries the same day so that it wouldn't conflict with a guy's trip in the future. And I'm like, hey, that's great. Shout out to you, but you still didn't mark enough weekends available on
Right.
your calendar. So that was really interesting, having to serve as a leader during that time and shift some of my um, fun energy. I was trying to make it a lively experience in terms of the planning, to being a little more um, straightforward and saying, hey, this is what happened. This is what I tried to do. Unfortunately, this is the weekend that works for the most people. And, hey, for the next time that this guy's available, we're going to make it so that he has first priority in terms of weekends, and he gets extra points. We have a point competition during the weekend to see who gets to be the next person in charge. And he gets a head start the next time he's there, so that he gets to be the leader the very next time, so he can plan a weekend that fits his needs. So during that process of planning, I had a lot of fun, and was able to book something in the Devil's Lake area of Wisconsin for the first night. And so we hiked that area. The next morning, we jumped off one of the rocks into the lake below, and then we got an Airbnb out in the Verona, Wisconsin area. It's very close to, it's a suburb of Madison for what it's worth. And there was a Verona Hometown Days festival in town. So it's the big festival. So we got to see a 90s cover band the one night.
Mm,
And that was a lot of fun, just to, kind of go out and have a couple different, competitions there, and just listen to, throwback music for us.
mhm.
Right. And then the next day we did a kayaking trip down the Sugar River, and that was a lot of fun. And we did a couple different competitions. And I tried to design the competitions around everyone's skill set, right? Because we have a former college basketball player on the team. We have a former college club football player on the team. We have someone who's a big runner on the team, right? And so uh, with all of that, if we made every single competition that we have to earn points to become the next person in charge, um, at being athletic in nature, well, then people are going to feel squeezed out of that. And so I literally had one of the guys bring up his N64, and he's the best Mario Kart player that I've ever witnessed in my life, and he earned points that way. So as we did all these competitions, it boiled down to Sunday morning. And again, I was sick this whole time, so leading through that and trying not to get others sick and have energy for this to direct where everyone's going, that was tough. And I literally had to call it quits early some nights. I had to understand my limits as a leader and as a human, to just say, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to be coughing all night. Sorry. Like, you all have fun. If you want to go back to the festival, if you want to stay up and play video games, great. Like, but I'm going to hit the hay. And that helped. But then that final event was Survivor inspired, right? We weren't eating grubs or anything like that. But fans of the show know that a lot of the immunity challenges are, you run and throw some things and then at targets, and then you have to put together a puzzle. So I said, we're going to set up and run. And I told everyone months in advance, be ready to run a mile. And so we ran maybe like 3/4 of a mile down to the local tavern and back. They had to throw some things into a bucket and then run inside and put together a puzzle. Well, I could have just forced them all to do that, but I said, look, I know I'm sick, but I'm not going to force you guys to run without me. So I participated in the event, and that was a big culminating event. Everyone's points were really tied up, and one of the guys who actually never got a chance to be the planner for this weekend ended up winning. So I'll share a couple photos or video from the trip. We had a lot of fun hiking, and just catching up, and especially the kayaking was a lot of fun because it was an easy float for the most part. We did 6 or 7 miles down the river, and yeah, just in general was a lot of fun. So I'm still coordinating final payments, right? I got to get some money back from that
Yeah.
experience. But in general, like, it was it was really our official start to summer, right? Like, summer, I know, starts in 2 or 3 weeks, but this is really a way to mark the beginning of a really exciting summer that I have lined up. And now that I'm feeling a little bit better and removed from it, I know I had as much fun as I could have, and I recovered as much as I could have during that trip. And hopefully, you guys don't hate me too much. I offered to have a quarantine tent, but they decided to sleep in there, and a couple of them got colds. But sounds like they are not getting hit as hard as I did. So
Mm.
I'm in luck for that. But yeah, that's what I was doing as a leader during this time. So I was busy just as much as you were that same weekend, and kind of prevented us from putting out that latest episode. But I'm glad we're
Right.
back on track and connecting like this.
No, absolutely, man. That definitely sounds exciting. I definitely want to. I may have to tag along one day.
Right?
Make a trip. I never done kayaking, so I love to do that. But also a quick question. You talked about that. I guess I hear that extrinsic motivation as far as the point system. So how'd y'all come up with that?
Yeah. So every year, it's the guy in charge. They have to figure out a way to appoint the next person. And the first year, we're doing whitewater rafting, and decided to, the guy that was in charge said sometimes people flip it over and have a little wrestling event, Royal Rumble. And so that's what we decided to do. And, the most athletic guy won it. Right. And so that next year, that guy actually made a ton of different competitions, like a cornhole toss and trivia
Wow.
and what have you. So that kind of carried over throughout the years, and everyone puts their own little spin on it. But ultimately, yeah, it could be literally, I could say, you know what, Josh, it's your turn to be the leader next time, and I could just appoint him. But
Mm.
instead, I kind of just, I think we all try to make it fun, and whoever ends up making the most of the weekend and doing fun things, it works. And I have to say the reason that I got put over the top last year was, one, I had the best playlist, and two, I ate the most pickled eggs at the bar
Oh
that we were at.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, it was everyone had a chance, but then I knew it was close, and this guy was like, I don't know if I want it. I stole it from him and shoved it in my mouth, and the guy's like, well, you got the points. You're the winner. And
Oh
so
man.
yeah, it's a little bit of actually they're not so bad. They're actually kind of good. Some people hate them, but I enjoy them. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of a random, guys being guys, while still like really trying to include everyone in all the activities. So yeah, if you join up, you may have to eat a pickled egg. So maybe that will.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, I'll stay in Baton Rouge. It's
That's
okay.
cool. Hey, we'll figure out something else to do. Yeah, we'll hang out
Yes.
some other time, right? We'll go kayaking down in Mississippi or something like that in the
Absolutely.
future. Awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, we were supposed to just, this was going to be a quick catch up episode for our listeners. And we said, hey, maybe go 15, 20 minutes, but realized that
Yeah.
we've been doing a lot in terms of leadership and planning in our personal lives. And we want to bring ourselves to these episodes and to our listeners because we have a lot going on. And, the lessons that we've learned within our leadership journey and our careers, we bringing to our day jobs, we're going to our extracurricular activities. And it shows that you can bring these leadership lessons to so many parts of your life and your communities that you have out there. If you really invest yourself in learning these things during your time in undergrad or just whenever you get the chance to serve as a leader.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, I like how we have two different experiences this past weekend, but we were both able to, like I mentioned earlier, like flex some of our, leadership experiences and skills within our community or friends group too, right? And I talk about community when it comes to the May brand, but honestly, my team members, they're my friends too. Like, I didn't, I haven't mentioned this, but you know, I've known all of them at least 6 or 7 years, right? And some of them like 8 years. So it's also helpful sometimes as well to have people that you already know, right? Join in on a team to really build something together. So yeah, it seemed like we had two exciting weekends for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad we got this chance to catch up, Jordan, hear more about our weekends, and yeah, what's coming up for you?
Well, like I mentioned, I have one more class to go for school, so I think that's my main focus right now. And then just enjoying my weekend
That's
and
great.
rest as well. A little bit of rest too.
100%.
What about
100%.
you?
Yeah, definitely still trying to recover, but I'm in the phase of I've been going stir crazy at home. So gonna walk my foster dog in the Pride Parade tomorrow, and gearing up for kickball playoffs. We actually made the playoffs somehow this past week.
Hey,
Yeah, first time for our team. We're gonna
When
get
there's a will,
demolished.
there's a way. All
But
right.
yes, there's a will, there's a way. But hey, we're gonna get this team in first place that we're playing has mercy ruled every single one of their opponents. So it's gonna be a quick night, and we're gonna hang out and grab some dinner after. But
Right.
I'm proud of our team for doing what we were able to do this past time. So until that mercy rule applies, and hopefully the next time we talk with you, we're gonna be rested, recovered, and we'll get back on format soon enough. But until next time, my name is Alex.
And I'm Jourdan.
Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you very soon with a new episode. Take care.
Have a good one.